On the eve of our wedding anniversary, my wife lied that she was too busy at work and didn't have time to celebrate with me. I believed her, but it turned out that the truth was she secretly accompanied her first love back home to meet his parents, and had a reunion dinner together. My daughter and my wife were by that man's side, looking happy and warm. It seemed as if I was the outsider. After I exposed everything, my wife said impatiently, "It's just a meal. I didn't tell you because I was afraid you'd think too much." I was so angry that I couldn't speak, and the atmosphere became tense. Then, as if taking out her anger, my daughter picked up the ashtray and threw it at my head, shouting, "It's all your fault. Don't you dare lose your temper with Mom. You're so petty. You don't deserve to be my dad at all." They thought that I would make a big scene after learning the truth, but to their surprise, I simply packed my luggage, covered my injured forehead, and proposed a divorce. "Stop arguing, let's get a divorce." After they had been attacking me non-stop for half an hour, I rubbed my temples wearily and proposed a divorce. Mia frowned, and her face showed a mocking and disdainful expression. "Are you threatening me? With a divorce? Fine, let's get divorced then." My daughter, Evelyn, stood aside with a face that resembled my wife's. Her expression was equally disdainful. "Dad, you're already in your 30s. Why do you keep picking on Uncle Lucas? You're not as good as him in every way. If Mom really has something with him, you wouldn't even have had the chance to marry Mom." Her tone was firm. In the past, I would have definitely felt sad and then tried to reason with her. This is my little daughter, whom I brought up with great effort. I would be sad because of her mockery and heartbroken because of her disdain. I have spent so much time on her that it's hard for me to accept that my daughter has grown up like this. But in her eyes, she is always right. They really are mother and daughter, both with equally bad personalities. Now my heart has already died once, and I won't be affected by these two people anymore. I just had a blank face, pushed Evelyn in front of me aside, and then started packing my clothes without saying a word. Evelyn crossed her arms and leaned against the door with a sarcastic look on her face. "What now? That you realize you have no other tricks to deal with Uncle Lucas? You're starting to play the run away from home card. Dad, I advise you not to act up after you leave this house. Mom won't like you anymore." She chattered on, and every word stabbed at my heart. I didn't say a word until I finished packing my things. When I was about to leave, I still asked a stupid question. "Do you want to stay with Dad or Mom?" Evelyn was taken aback, and then without thinking, she said, "Of course, with Mom. You're a useless guy who can't make money. Why should I stay with you? Over the years, Mom has been working hard outside, and you only had to take care of me. This kind of life is good enough for you. Why can't you learn to be grateful?" How ridiculous. I don't know when she started comparing me with Lucas all the time. She kept talking about how good Lucas was, saying that he was smart, handsome, and had a good education, and that he was worlds apart from me. Even though I brought her up with so much effort in her heart, I could never compare to an outsider. It wasn't just this one thing that really broke my heart, but countless small things behind it. I still remember one night a year ago when it rained heavily. After answering a phone call, Mia turned to leave without caring about our daughter, who had a high fever. I begged her to stay and accompany our daughter a little longer, but she said coldly, "I've spent enough time with you. Now that Lucas is sick, I have to go and take care of him." After saying that, she really took the car keys and left. A bolt of lightning flashed, and my daughter woke up with a start, crying for her mom. I soothed her over and over again before she finally fell asleep. Because of the heavy rain, there was a power outage. I fanned her with a handheld fan all night, swaying it gently for fear that she wouldn't sleep well. That night, she murmured a few words. "Dad, Dad." I sighed and said, "Don't be afraid, Dad is here." The next second, she talked in her sleep. "Uncle Lucas, would you be Evelyn's dad?" It turned out that the dad she was talking about was Lucas, not me. I will always remember the heartache at that moment. It was as if my heart was being cracked open inch by inch, and the pain spread throughout my body along my limbs. That's when I realized that when you're too sad, it's hard to breathe. To keep my daughter from seeing my haggard appearance, I bent over, gasping for air, and big tears fell from my eyes. In the end, I couldn't tell the necessity of my existence in this family anymore. Since they like Lucas so much, I'll just step aside. Anyway, I've had enough of this kind of life. Coming back to my senses, I said calmly, "Ask your mom to change your surname when she has time. From today on, you're no longer my daughter." Finally, there was some movement in the bedroom because of my words, and Mia came over. Only then did I notice that while I was packing my luggage, she had been doing her makeup. The so-called divorce in her eyes was just an insignificant contest. She firmly believed that I couldn't live without her. That's why she could be so fearless and perfunctory towards me. With this attitude, at this moment, she had already done most of her makeup, revealing a delicate and beautiful face. She opened her mouth with a cold question. "Why are you talking to your daughter like that? She's just a child." So what if what she said was a bit harsh? We just took Lucas out for a meal. Can you stop being so unreasonable? Huh, unreasonable. Over the years we've been together, the most common thing she said to me is that I am being unreasonable. My love for her allowed me to tolerate her harsh words over the past few years. Now that the love is gone, there's only confrontation left. Without thinking, I sneered, I'm doing this for her own good. After all, she always thinks I'm a disgrace. In that case, why don't you just change her surname, whatever makes you happy anyway? From now on, I don't have this daughter anymore. Evelyn had never been treated like this before, and her eyes immediately turned red. She had been spoiled into a haughty little princess, and the words I said were like slapping her in the face. I don't want a dad like you. I don't care. Get out of my house. Now, Grandpa and Grandma were right. You're not as good as Uncle Lucas in any way. You don't deserve to be my dad. I turned around and left, not wanting to waste another word. Evelyn somehow took out an ashtray and threw it at my head from behind. A sharp pain shot through me, and I felt blood flowing down my head. I couldn't stop it. I was stunned, and so was she. But in the end, she still said bravely, "You provoked me first. You deserve it." I turned my head and met Mia's somewhat playful gaze. She just sneered and protected Evelyn behind her. It's all Dad's fault. He's so petty. Our Evelyn did nothing wrong at all. He's lucky this time, he just bled a little. Dad wasn't good, and he deserves to be punished, right? Don't cry, Evelyn. How about Mom takes you to play with Uncle Lucas? These words successfully soothed Evelyn, and she smiled sweetly. Okay, Evelyn likes Uncle Lucas the most. I covered my bleeding forehead and still didn't say a word. I left this place quickly. Not long after, Mia openly took Lucas to various occasions. Lucas deliberately or inadvertently showed off the ring on his ring finger, which attracted a lot of discussion. Mia didn't care. She even added fuel to the fire and said with a smile, "Lucas and I are very good friends, and we are unique to each other." She has never been the kind of woman who shows her feelings in public. I know this is her punishment for me. Mia is certain that I still have feelings for her and wants to force me to come back by doing this. I received a call from her parents. "Henry, we're glad about your decision. Mia has always been a sentimental child. I'm grateful to you for being the one to propose the separation. There's a big gap between you and my daughter in terms of conditions. You don't deserve her. The kid from the Lucas family is very nice and will take good care of Evelyn for you. After a while, I'll take her." To change her surname, they have always looked down on me, and now they were overjoyed. I just gave a hum, feeling neither happy nor sad. After hanging up the phone, Evelyn sent me several text messages. Although she is still very young, she has already learned to send messages early. I clicked on it and saw a photo of her and Lucas. She was sitting on Lucas's shoulders, smiling sweetly, and she was wearing a cute doll hairband in her hair. "Uncle Lucas took me to the amusement park. I can still live a good life even without you. I advise you to divorce Mom as soon as possible and let Uncle Lucas be my dad." I sighed and blocked her contact information. After a moment of silence, I suddenly burst out laughing. I laughed at how stupid I used to be. Everyone in Mia's family looked down on me, but I still carefully maintained this marriage for the love of Mia. I put aside my dignity in self-respect and kept retreating my bottom line. In the end, I just made concessions for others in vain. Thinking of this, I suddenly felt a dull pain in my forehead. Only then did I realize that the wound was too deep to avoid infection. I still had to go to the hospital. While waiting for my turn, I saw a familiar old acquaintance and was a bit stunned. The woman had long hair that reached her waist and was wearing a rimless pair of glasses, looking very scholarly. She was also stunned, and her voice trembled as she said, "What a coincidence. Long time no see." She was still holding a little girl in her arms. After chatting for a while, I learned the whole story. Vivian's sister's family suddenly had a car accident, leaving only Olivia as the child. As the child's aunt, Vivian had no choice but to take her with her. However, as a doctor, Vivian was very busy at work, so much so that she often neglected her. That's how this encounter happened. I scratched my head, and her expression suddenly became serious. "The wound on your head is very serious. Come in now, and I'll disinfect it for you." Only then did I notice that she was actually a doctor in the outpatient department for external injuries. No wonder she suddenly came out. It was to call the next patient. After everything was done, she suddenly called out to me and said, "Henry, do you have a job now? Would you consider doing me a favor?" I was taken aback, and an impossible thought came to my mind. Surprisingly, this thought became a reality. "Could you help me take care of Olivia? I know that you majored in psychology in college, and your postgraduate and doctoral studies were also in the direction of child psychology. This child has a bit of stress, trauma." Thinking of that lovely little girl, my heart softened for a moment. Driven by my emotions, I nodded and took on the heavy responsibility of taking care of another child. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Olivia's school was going to hold a parents' meeting tomorrow. I took out a set of clothes early, and even went to get a haircut specially. That night, I suddenly received a call from Mia. I don't have time to attend our daughter's parents' meeting tomorrow. Just like before. You go. Her voice was extremely cold, still as indifferent as ever, as if allowing me to go was a kind of favor to me. After a pause, she continued, I apologize to you for what happened that day. There should be a limit to running away from home for a month. I was washing the dishes while holding the phone between my shoulders and replied, I won't go. Instead of saying these things, I asked, do you have time to divorce me now? Please don't delay. My time is also precious. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone. Mia said, are you serious? It's just that I asked Lucas to accompany me back for a meal. His parents and my parents are old acquaintances. She was about to say something more, but I interrupted her impatiently. I don't care who you have a meal with. I just want a divorce. I didn't ignore the sound of the shower constantly coming from the other end when Mia called. I could even hear a man's voice. She was with Lucas while talking to me on the phone. Didn't she feel uncomfortable? This feeling of nausea made me wish I could break off all relations with her right away. This sentence undoubtedly angered her. She said in a deep voice, you're being unreasonable. I'll ask Lucas to go to the parents' meeting. Just make sure you don't come crawling back later. I sneered. Do as you like. By the way, let me know when you arrange the time. Let's get this done as soon as possible. There was a beep, and the phone call ended. It seemed that she was extremely angry. The next day, I went to the parents' meeting as usual and deliberately avoided Evelyn's class. Unexpectedly, I still met her. A mocking smile appeared on that cold little face that was just like Mia's. You finally come to your senses and come to attend my parents' meeting. I told you earlier that Mom won't spoil you. If you beg me to forgive you now, I'll allow you to attend my parents' meeting. She was aggressive, as if she was certain that I would be the first to give in. But unexpectedly, the little girl behind me suddenly poked her head out and said timidly, Uncle, aren't we going to class yet? Evelyn's face suddenly darkened, and she said in disbelief, who is she? There was hostility in her eyes, and she pushed Olivia down when I wasn't paying attention. I quickly helped Olivia up and said angrily, apologize to her. Evelyn laughed, and said to Olivia, did you hear that? My dad wants you to apologize to me. He clearly came to attend my parents' meeting. I took a deep breath and then calmed down. Evelyn apologized to Olivia. Evelyn widened her eyes in disbelief, took a few steps back in grievance, and there were tears in her eyes. There seemed to be some hurt in her eyes as well. I couldn't care less about that and went to check if Olivia was hurt. Mia appeared from around the corner. Seeing Evelyn's sad appearance, she held her in her arms lovingly. She also noticed the little girl in my arms and said mockingly, helping an outsider to bully your own daughter. You've really got some nerve. Now Lucas was right behind her, and also shook his head in disapproval. Henry, no matter what, you are Evelyn's father. How can there be an overnight feud between a father and a daughter? Are you so angry that I'm here to attend Evelyn's parents' meeting that you want to take it out on the child? His words were really clever. With just a few words, he put me in a difficult situation. In the past, I would definitely have been sad and overthought it because Lucas went to the parents' meeting for Evelyn. Half of the year, Mia used the excuse that I had to do the housework at home and asked Lucas to go. Evelyn was actually very happy and hugged Lucas's leg, saying, I like Uncle Lucas the most. After the parents' meeting, she said, I want Uncle Lucas to take me to the amusement park. Noticing my dejected expression, she said in disgust, Dad, you look slovenly at home every day. Going to the parents' meeting would just embarrass me. You only know how to care about my grades. Every time, Mom is so rich now. Even if my grades are not good, it doesn't matter. Don't meddle in my business. After saying that, she kissed Lucas's face and said sweetly, Uncle Lucas, let's go quickly and ignore him. Lucas gave me a provocative look and took Evelyn out. But Dormia didn't care even more. Before leaving, she even warned me, Lucas is a very simple person and won't threaten your position. Don't go and make things difficult for him and embarrass him. You and him are never from the same world. At that moment, I should have been really sad. Olivia carefully tugged at the hem of my clothes, saying, Uncle, we're going to be late for the parents' meeting. Only then did I come to my senses and looked at the three people in front of me indifferently. Evelyn is no longer my daughter, and since she made a mistake, she should naturally apologize. As for you, I don't care who attends Evelyn's parents' meeting. Mia and I will get a divorce soon. You're welcome to be Evelyn's stepfather. Ignoring Mia's face, pale with anger because of my words, I took Olivia's hand and left. The parents' meeting ended smoothly. When I reached the entrance, I saw Mia again. Evelyn was nowhere to be seen. She was the only one leaning against the car with a cigarette between her fingers, looking a bit disheveled. I knew that things had to come to an end, so I asked Olivia to stand there and wait for me for a while, and I walked over. Seeing me, Mia extinguished the cigarette in her hand. Henry, I have something I want to talk to you about. I turned my head and said indifferently, we have nothing to talk about. Get the divorce papers ready as soon as possible. I won't ask for an extra penny of the property from you." She sighed, and her tone was almost gentle. "You've had your tantrum. Your anger should have subsided by now, right? Evelyn was crying and shouting for you to come back today. She misses you so much." I sneered and said indifferently, "I have nothing to do with her anymore. Let her go and find her daddy Lucas." I'm not unaware that this is a little secret between Evelyn and Lucas. When there's no one around, she calls Lucas daddy. She has never regarded me as her father, and I won't rush to be her father anymore. Mia's face froze, and she was somewhat angry. "How can you say that? Am I an object that you can push around and give away at will?" Asking Evelyn to call Lucas daddy was nothing more than paving the way for their remarriage. Mia understood this, and was angry because of it. I couldn't quite figure out the woman in front of me anymore. It was she who, said I couldn't compare to Lucas, and it was also she who didn't want to marry Lucas. Fortunately, I no longer want to understand her. After 10 years of wear and tear, all my sincere feelings for her have gone down the drain. I said indifferently, "What happens to you has nothing to do with me. Now I just want a divorce. Don't come to me anymore in the future. It's a waste of time." I looked at my watch, knew that it was almost time, then turned around to pick up Olivia and went back to her home. She was still a bit worried. "Uncle, was that your daughter we met today?" I pondered for a while before answering. She used to be, but not anymore. I thought it would be difficult to admit this, but I found that it was quite easy. Since when did severing the relationship with that mother and daughter become something that felt like a relief to me? After that, I went on as usual, taking Olivia to school and sending her home. I never bumped into that mother and daughter again. The next time I saw them was on a TV channel. Mia's company was about to go public, and Evelyn was accompanying her, dressed up like a princess. Behind them, Lucas was wearing a custom-made suit and answering the reporters' questions methodically. One of the reporters asked excitedly, "It is said that the two of you have a childhood sweetheart relationship and that good news is coming soon. Are you planning to get married after the company goes public on your wedding anniversary? You also went to Mia's family dinner together. Does this prove that the rumors are true?" Facing her questions, Mia frowned, which was a rare occurrence. She said unhurriedly, "I already have a husband. Lucas and I are just business partners and good friends. Please stop spreading rumors. My husband will be angry if he hears this." She smiled faintly, as if she were a wife deeply in love with her husband. Lucas's face darkened suddenly, and he looked a bit dissatisfied. There was still a ring on his fingertip, which was very expensive. It was given to him by Mia. Everyone knew the meaning of giving a ring. These were reporters he had deliberately invited just to make Mia give him a proper status. However, Mia distanced herself from him in full view of everyone. How could he be willing to accept this? I withdrew my gaze, stopped looking at the woman on the screen, and took a sip of tea. I'm not narcissistic enough to think that Mia said those things for my sake. Probably because the company's listing was approaching. She had to maintain her persona. Otherwise, she wouldn't have kept ignoring my messages about the divorce and kept delaying it. Essentially, she was still that selfish person. That night, Mia suddenly called me, her tone tinged with drunkenness. "Henry, I'm downstairs of your house. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. If you want a divorce, then come and see me now." Her tone suddenly rose. I sighed, put on my clothes, and went downstairs. She was wearing the beautiful evening dress she had on TV, which made her figure look even more captivating. Her delicate face could make any man fall for her. Among so many people, I was the only one who wasn't attracted. She stared at me intently, her lips slightly parted. "Henry, when will you make up with me? We've been together for 10 years. Why should we break up because of a trivial matter like having a meal? Just bear with it for the sake of the child." I gave a cold snort. Bear with it, I was indeed wronged. In the 10 years I spent in Mia's family, I had to endure the cold looks from my father-in-law and mother-in-law, and I was disliked by both her and her daughter. Now she was saying, "Bear with it for the sake of the child" again. I pitied the child, but who would pity me? There was no possibility for us anymore. Mia was taken aback but still said gently, "My parents insisted that Lucas come over for dinner that day. You know they've always treated Lucas very well. It wasn't that I deliberately didn't let you go. It was an urgent situation that day. I originally wanted to come back and explain it to you. There's really nothing between me and Lucas." This was the first time she had explained things about Lucas to me. I had waited a full 10 years for this explanation. I closed my eyes, feeling a bit tired. "I understand. You don't need to come to me anymore in the future. It's not that I'm angry. I just don't love you anymore and don't want to maintain this marriage with you. I only used to talk about love when I was young. At that time, Mia was much better than she is now. She would fold 999 stars for me just because I said I wanted them. The stars were especially bright that day. In the silence, all I could hear was her shy voice. "Henry, do you like me?" The feelings of my youth were hidden in these details, and they had been hidden for 10 years. Because of the kindness she showed me in the past, I endured a loveless marriage for 10 years. I knew that I didn't owe her anything. The current Mia was no longer the person I loved. Her face turned pale, and she distanced herself from me all of a sudden. Mia lost control and said, "It's impossible. You love me, Henry, you've loved me for 10 years. I know you love me better than anyone else." She stood on tiptoe and kissed my lips fiercely. The smell of alcohol lingered, and I immediately pushed her aside and wiped my lips hard. "I don't love you anymore. Not at all. If you still care about these 10 years, then get a divorce with me quickly. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Just fulfill my wish." While she was stunned for a moment, I stuffed the wedding ring into her hand and said coldly, "This is the ring you gave me. Now I'm returning it to you. You can give it to anyone you like. As for me, I will never love you again in my life." She held the ring and stood there blankly, like a statue. Despite all my insults and having said those harsh words, she still didn't want to divorce me. So I officially filed for divorce in court. Since we had a child, my first lawsuit for divorce failed. I wasn't worried and filed for divorce a second time. Before the court session, the door of my apartment was suddenly knocked on. I opened the door and saw Evelyn standing there. When she saw me, she clearly swallowed nervously and looked a bit scared. "Daddy, I miss you. Will you take me back? Mommy has been drinking a lot these days and keeps crying." I squatted down and looked into her eyes. "I'm no longer your daddy." This sentence seemed to strike a chord in her. She suddenly burst into tears. "No, you are my daddy. I know, I was wrong. I shouldn't have thrown the ashtray at you, and I shouldn't have said such bad things to you. Evelyn really knows she was wrong. I miss you so much. I have nightmares every night, and you don't appear when I wake up. I'm really scared." The tears of a little girl can always touch the softest part of a person's heart, but for Evelyn, I had already wasted too much of my feelings. So much so that I couldn't even feel pity for her. My tone was still cold and firm. "We agreed before. Lucas is your daddy, and I have nothing to do with you anymore. While it's still daylight, you should go back on your own." She desperately tried to hug my leg, just like she used to act coyly with me every time. In the past, the difference was that I used to give in and coax her. Now I just pushed her away coldly. The moment I closed the door, I saw Mia standing around the corner, looking lost. Her expression was too complicated, a mix of heartache and sadness. I didn't understand it, and I didn't want to understand it either, because belated affection is cheaper than grass. The next day, when the court was in session, it was a clear and sunny day, and the weather was very nice. The process was as I had expected. The sentiment in court was already leaning towards me, so I was in a good mood as well. Mia was furious. During the intermission, she strode towards me, and her tone was close to pleading. "Henry, don't divorce me, okay? Do you have the heart to let Evelyn lose her daddy? She's still so young, and the child is innocent." I smiled. "How could that be?" Before she could relax a bit because of my words, I continued. "Isn't Lucas her new daddy? Mia's parents also like Lucas. I believe your family will be just as happy. In the future, Mia, I wish you happiness." I wasn't lying. I meant it sincerely. Mia's parents had always looked down on my family background and thought I was a Phoenix man who was after their wealth. Even though I had graduated from the best university in the country and had a bright future ahead of me, they didn't want me to go out and work. It wasn't that I didn't want to strive for success. Mia herself told me, "Henry, our daughter needs the company of her parents, but my job is too tiring, so I can only ask you to make this sacrifice." It took me a long time to prepare myself mentally before I gave up my future prospects and chose to stay at home to accompany my daughter. At first, Mia still came home from work early, as usual, and was considerate and gentle towards me. I don't know since when, with the instigation of Mia's other Lucas joined the company, and everything changed. The person by Mia's side changed, from me to Lucas. She started having fewer common topics with me, and her temper got worse day by day. Mia even began to take Lucas's side. Evelyn also liked Lucas more. By the time I realized all this, there was no room for me to make amends. My wife, my daughter, and my family were all destroyed by Lucas. My life now is wonderful enough, and there's no reason for me to go back to the past. Mia didn't say anything more. Sadness seemed to have emptied her soul, leaving only a shell of a body still alive. I watched her walk back into the courtroom in a daze. The woman who had always been proud almost tripped and fell flat on the ground, which showed how sad she was. Evelyn looked at me from a distance, and her face was also covered with tears. In the end, I divorced Mia, and Evelyn went with her. I didn't ask for a single cent of the property and left the house empty-handed to show my gratitude for taking care of Olivia. Vivian found me a job that matched my major. My major in university was psychological research. She took out my excellent resume and got me a decent job in the hospital. It was related to child psychology research. Olivia became my first little patient under my care. For so many days, she had already stepped out of the shadow of losing her parents and became a cheerful little son. Half a year later, I met an unexpected person. Evelyn suffered from severe depression when she was brought to the hospital by Mia. She had already twice. Her once proud eyes became dull, and the formerly haughty little girl seemed to have been deprived of her vitality. The moment she saw me, her eyes lit up, but then they quickly dimmed. Mia also looked haggard and had lost a lot of weight. She was no longer the high-spirited career woman she used to be. I didn't treat her specially because of her identity. On the contrary, precisely because we have a blood relationship, I couldn't be her psychologist. After hesitating for a while, I asked her to have a full-body examination in the hospital and found that Evelyn's psychological state was indeed on the verge of collapse. All her physical indicators were declining, and her condition was very dangerous. I pulled Mia to the other side of the ward and said coldly, "What have you done? Evelyn's physical condition is as fragile as a piece of white paper, and it seems like it will break at a touch." As her mother, "Didn't you notice anything unusual?" Mia said wearily. "I had no choice. I've been too busy since the company went public, but I asked Lucas to take care of her. I never expected it to turn out like this. If I hadn't come home early from work, maybe Evelyn would already have ... double quotes." She choked up as she said this. "I'm sorry for her, Henry. It was only after you left that I realized that your work at home was by no means easy. I wrongly blamed you. In the past, without you, I'm completely useless in my daily life, and I can't take care of Evelyn at all." She was about to cry. I sighed. Both the mother and daughter were in a very bad state, but the most urgent matter now was Evelyn's physical and mental health. The one who tied the bell should untie it. You need to communicate with her and find out her true thoughts. I can't help her either. I'll recommend another reliable psychologist to you. I pushed the WeChat account of the psychologist next door to Mia. Just then, Evelyn suddenly pushed the door open and came in. She said, aggrievedly, "Mom, I don't like Uncle Lucas. Uncle Lucas is not nice to me at all. He said he could marry you soon, and then you would have another baby. He was just pretending before, and he did it to drive Dad away." When she said this, she looked at me, intentionally or unintentionally. When she met my calm eyes, she immediately lost her spirit. Mia was shocked by her words and quickly took Evelyn away. A few days later, an uninvited guest appeared in my consulting room. Lucas. With red eyes, he questioned me in a breakdown. "Why are you so despicable? You're still trying to sow discord between me and Mia. Even after the divorce, the person Mia has loved from beginning to end is only me. Give up that thought. Only I can be her husband." As he spoke, he took out a knife from his arms and tried to attack me. Looking at the knife, my heart skipped a beat. "Calm down. Killing me won't do you any good. Do you want Mia to completely give up on you?" Lucas chewed on the words "give up" repeatedly and then completely lost his mind. "She has already given up on me. He actually said she loves you. I've been by her side for so many years, but I don't even have a proper status. If only you didn't exist. If only you... As he rushed towards me, the blade was about to plunge into my chest, just an inch away. He suddenly fell down. Looking back, it was Mia who suddenly appeared from nowhere and hit him on the head with a chair. She suddenly threw herself into my arms and cried, "Are you okay, Henry? Does it hurt?" Actually, I wasn't hurt at all, but her concerned tone was so urgent that it was as if we had gone back more than 10 years. The stubborn girl also hugged me like this and kept calling me Henry. I composed myself and quickly dialed the emergency hotline. Fortunately, this was a hospital. Although my outpatient department was a bit remote, the emergency doctors arrived quickly. Maybe I should thank Mia. It was she who stopped Lucas's violent act. According to the hospital's regulations, doctors must never harm patients, so if Lucas really wanted to take my life, I would have been in great danger. Mia appeared at just the right time, and she saved my life in a way. I called the police. There were surveillance cameras in the outpatient department, and Lucas's crime process was clearly recorded. Once he recovers from his illness, he will be automatically escorted back to the police station. This time, no one will save him. After Mia's parents learned that he had abused Evelyn, they no longer protected him in everything. As for Evelyn, needless to say, they completely hated Lucas. I guess this is what the wicked deserve. Evelyn became the patient of the psychologist next door. Since the outpatient departments were very close, I often saw her. She always sat in front of the ward and watched me deal with some trivial matters. I could see that she was becoming more and more normal and cheerful day by day, and her condition was gradually stabilizing. Her psychologist thought for a while and told me that Evelyn's psychological state was approaching stability, and she could already stop the treatment. On the day when the treatment ended, she said in a hurry, "Dad, I think you're amazing. No wonder you could always cheer me up whenever I was a little unhappy. Before, I was being naive. Can you forgive me?" I was taken aback but still said patiently, "You're a patient, so I hope you can recover. But as a father, you're no longer my daughter. I have nothing to do with your mother from now on, but I still hope you can grow up healthy and happy." Evelyn's eyes were filled with tears, and she said reluctantly, "But I think Mom loves you too. Why can't you be husband and wife again?" I continued to explain, "Some things that are matters of principle. Once done, can't be ignored. Just because things are over, we can't just pretend that nothing happened. Evelyn seemed to understand but was still sad. When Mia came to pick her up, she just had a sullen face and was extremely depressed. After seeing Evelyn get into the car, Mia pulled me aside to talk alone. "Henry, I'm sorry. It was only after you left that I realized that the person I've loved for more than 10 years has always been you. I only love you. I was too impulsive back then and also believed what others said, so I thought you were good for nothing. Now I remember that it was me who asked you not to work." She had recovered her health after these days of recuperation, and her face became rosy again. She was still the beautiful Mia. When she said these words, her tone was especially sincere. I think anyone would be touched by her. Her tone was firm, but my heart told me that everything now was the life I wanted. I no longer have feelings for Mia. When you love someone, you can give up everything for her. Once you don't love her anymore, it's very difficult to start over. This is not only unfair to me, but also to her. I shook my head, and Mia showed an understanding expression. She gave a bitter laugh. "I understand. I'll take Evelyn abroad in a few days. She's not very suitable for the education in our country. Maybe the next time we meet will be a long time later." I smiled and waved my hand, saying, "That's great. I wish you a pleasant journey." Separation is the best ending. Not long after, a plane took Mia and Evelyn out of the country. As for me, I'm still receiving children with depression in this small, outpatient department. Maybe it's because I had a miserable childhood myself and I want to prevent them from following in my footsteps. I love this job and also love my current life. Just as I thought not long ago, is getting better.